Shabbat Shalom, Yashal, Shabbat Shalom. Dawarabban Yashal coming out with part 2 of this Holy Sabbath lesson titled Rumour from Yahawah, Rise Up to the Battle. Salaki. Rumour from Yahawah, Rise Up to the Battle. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory and honor Abanawa Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rakakadash. True Father's name, deliver and save his name in ancient Paleo Hebrew, Lashawan Kodash. Again, Dawarabban Yashal coming out with part 2 of this Holy Sabbath lesson. I left off in part 1 on the book of Obadiah. Just recap, I'm going to go to Obadiah 1 and I'm going to start reading from the 6th verse. Obadiah 1 and 6 reads, How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding. There is none understanding him. This is the men that were at peace at the border, which we know and do a history check, is the indigenous people that were here before killing Christopher Columbus came with all his conquistadors and conquered all these lands, North, Central, South America, and all the islands of the sea. Okay, just to get a recap, let's go Obadiah 1 and 8. Again, rumour from Yahawah, rise up to the battle. This is the book of Obadiah, 1st chapter and verse 8, and it reads, Shall I not in that day, saith Yahawah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? Read it again, Obadiah 1 and verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahawah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of Mount on Esau, Salakia? Okay, so this is the Most High prophesying destructions coming to so-called Edom, which we know are the children of Esau. Esau is their forefathers. I covered all that in part 1. Rewind the video and see part 1. Read it again. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahawah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? Obadiah 1 and 9. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Read it again, Obadiah 1 and 9. That mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. I covered it in part 1. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. The Most High stated he has an indignation against these people. Let's find out a few reasons why. Okay? You know, to every story, you got who, what, when, where, how, and why. Let's cover some of these elements. Okay, Obadiah 1 and 10. And it reads, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Read it again, Obadiah 1 and verse 10. Let's get some of the whys. Obadiah 1 and 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Over 400 years, I covered it in part 1. Put us into bondage and slavery to this day. To this day. Baruch 3 and 8 say we're still in bondage and slavery to this day. Subject to payment of curses of payments. You got to pay for everything here in Babylon the Great. Even water, which comes freely from the Most High. But let's stay on topic. Obadiah 1 and 10. This is one of the whys. Esau is going to pay on the day of judgment. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Forever. Every one of Esau shall be cut off. The previous one to precept to that the end that every one of Mount Esau may be cut off by slaughter. These are not my words. I'm just a messenger and reading it. Thus saith the Lord. You got issues with it, like I said, the disclaimer. If you disagree with the text, scroll on. If you subscribe and you don't like what you're hearing, you can't. The Holy Spirit is not giving you the edification of these precepts. It's not for you. It's over your head. Scroll on. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Let's get another why. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 35, and I'm going to read from the second verse. I'm going to read Ezekiel 35 from the top. Verse 1. Ezekiel 35 verse 1 reads, Moreover, the word of Yahawah came unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesied against it. Okay, Ezekiel 35 verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesied against it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing out thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible, as I'm commanded to, against Mount Seir, and prophesied against it. Ezekiel 35 and verse 3, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahawah thy power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hands against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Read it again, Ezekiel 35 and verse 3. And say unto it, Thus saith Yahawah thy power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hands against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Ezekiel 35 and verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahawah. Ezekiel 35 verse 4, I will lay thy city waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahawah. Ezekiel 35 and verse 5, this is the point. This is another why. Ezekiel 35 and verse 5 reads, Because thou hast a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Okay, read it again. Why? Why does the Most have indignation against this nation of people, so-called Esau, the forefather of the Edomites? I covered that in part 1, Ezekiel 35 and 5, because thou had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had end. Ezekiel 35 and verse 6 reads, Therefore, as I live, saith Yahawah thy power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Again, these are the words of the Most High. I'm just a messenger, and I'm reading, Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. Ezekiel 35 and verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And verse 8, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in thy rivers. they shall fall that are slain with the sword. Okay? And we all know the Messiah said he ain't coming for peace. He's coming with a sword. And he's coming for the worst of the heathens. I covered that in part 1. This is how Esau's secrets come to pass, and we're here to prophesy, thus saith the Lord. Ezekiel 35 verse 9, I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am Yahawah. I'm just reading the Bible. Okay, so if you want to know why, I covered it in Obadiah 1 and verse 10. For the violence against thy brother Jacob. And another, the Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. For another reason why he has a perpetual hatred and indignation for Esau and all the Edomites that are on this world. Read it again, 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. That's the reason why, for all you unlearned to get an understanding why the Most High is judging this place. For all that you've done to his children, taking them to the slaughter. Verse 6, thou hast lived, saith Yahawah, I prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Even blood shall pursue thee. I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out, and him that returneth. I will fill his mountains with slain men, in thy hills, in the valley, in thy rivers, and they shall fall all that are slain with the sword. I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am Yahawah. 35 verse 10, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahawah was there. What are the two nations and he's talking about? Let's get a little understanding. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Stay in the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel 37, and let's find out the nation that he's talking about. Ezekiel 37 and verse 15, and it reads, the word of Yahawah came again unto me, saying, verse 16, moreover, son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions. So there's two different, that's the northern and the southern kingdom, to get understanding. Ezekiel 37 and 17. And join them one to another. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. Okay, this is the reuniting of the northern and southern kingdom. But let's read on so you can get more edification. Ezekiel 37 and verse 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by this? So they asking the question, when the children of the people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by this? Ezekiel 37 and verse 19. Say unto them, thus saith Yahawah thy power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hands of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, meaning all the other indigenous tribes, Gad, Reuben, Simeon, all the other indigenous tribes, and put them with him, even the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. Ezekiel 37 and verse 20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before thy eyes. Ezekiel 37 and verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith Yahawah thy power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from amongst the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land, the kingdom to come. Ezekiel 37 and 22. This is the point. And I will make them one nation. Read it again. Ezekiel 37 and 22. And I will make them one nation. The northern and the southern kingdom that was divided in ancient times, we're going to come together. Okay? We're going to come together. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations. So the northern and the southern kingdom, we're going to unite. And when that happens, all praise and glory to the Most High, we're taking this earth back. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. Ezekiel 37 and 22. And I will make them one nation. Salakia. One nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. So when this prophecy, this is a future prophecy, when this takes place, we're taking over this kingdom. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. Okay? When we unite the northern and the southern kingdom and become all the children of Israel together, all you heathen nations, we're coming for all of you, thus saith the Lord. Let's get a priest. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Back up what I said. Daniel 7, and I'm going to read the 18th verse. Daniel 7 and verse 18 reads, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Read it again. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. We're not asking for it, we're taking it. But we're waiting for our king coming with 200 million angels, and we're going to take over this kingdom. That Job prophecy of the earth is given to the hands of the wicked is coming back to the righteous. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. Daniel 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Those are the 1,000 years that we're going to be reigning with the King of Kings, Lords of Lords, who this world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ. But we know he's the Messiah, is a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Okay? He's not that stringy hair, beetle, dog hair, so-called wax pale that everybody's bowing down to on this earth. Everybody knows, do your research. That's Cesar Borgia, the son of Pope VI. Okay? Da Vinci depicted. They just whitewash all the saints. When you read the book of Job 9:24, it states they covered the faces of the judges. Who are the judges? From the Most High to the Messiah to all the apostles, they whitewashed all of it out here. It is what it is. Let's drop down to Daniel 7 and 27. Get more edification. We're taking this kingdom. Once the northern and southern kingdom come together under Yahawah Mashiach, we're taking over this kingdom. Daniel 7 and 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, which is the earth, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. Point blank period. The Messiah, when he cracks that sky with 200 million angels, and the children of Israel that endure to the end here in this land of captivity, United States of America, that's a future prophecy. When we get together, we're taking over this kingdom. Point blank period. Let's get back to the lesson. Let's go back to Obadiah. I just get so through the Spirit taking me all over. Obadiah 1 and 10. I gave you the reasons why, the perpetual hatred against the children of Israel, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. That's why you'll have to pay. That's why you would have to pay, thus saith the Lord. Salakia. Let's go to Obadiah. I'm going to drop down to verse 15. I don't want to make this part too long lesson, but let's go to Obadiah, back to the book of Obadiah 1, and I'm going to read the 15th verse. Obadiah 1 and 15 reads, "For the day of Yahawah is near upon all heathen." Obadiah 1 and 15, "For the day of Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head." Read it again. Beautiful precept. Obadiah 1 and 15. "For the day of Yahawah is upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee." It's only fair. Karma. Circle of life. You're going to reap what you sow. "For the day of Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return unto thy own head." It's clear as day. Let's get a few couple of classic precepts. Okay? What you've done is coming back to you. Let's go to the book of Revelations. Revelations 13, and I'm going to read verse 10. Revelation 13 and verse 10 reads, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity." It's only fair. It's only fair. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. These other heathen nations put us into captivity, over 7 different captivities, again, from the ancient Egyptian to the Persian Mede to the Greek to the Roman to the Babylonian. You go on and on and on, and we're still here in captivity. "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be," not maybe, "must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." That's what we're patiently and faithfully waiting for the Messiah to come and, like they say in the movies, take 2, action. Our time to take over. Just like the time of Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Same thing. It's our time. We were in captivity. You still got us here in captivity to this day, but he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. It's only fair. Let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of Exodus. Exodus 21 and verse 16. These are just coming through the Spirit. Exodus 21 and verse 16. "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him," Exodus 21 and 16. "He that stealeth a man," weren't we stolen from our homeland, Jerusalem, Israel? I mean, in 70 AD, millions of Jews went into the western part of Africa. The Africans sold us to the so-called white man, which is Edom, modern day Edom. "He that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hands." When the Messiah cracks that sky with his holy angels, aren't we going to be found in their hands? Exodus 21 and 16. "He that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hands, he shall surely be put to death." Okay? Just bringing it out. Precept upon precept. Okay, let's get another one. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. Another classic precept. Okay, karma has to come. It's the circle of life. What you reap, you will sow in this life. Point blank, period. This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. "Therefore, all that devoured thee shall be devoured. Therefore, all that devoured thee shall be devoured. And all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. And they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey." So the Most High is going to turn the page. What you've done to his people, it's only fair. Okay? We're in captivity. You're going into captivity. Point blank, period. I'm just reading the Bible. Just reading the Bible. Just reading the Bible. Let's go to Isaiah. Book of Isaiah. bring out a couple of more precepts. I didn't want this lesson to be so long, but through the Spirit of the Most High, on His holy Sabbath, love bringing out the holy word of the Most High God, Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai. Isaiah 14, I'm going to read the 21st verse so you can get understanding. Isaiah 14 and verse 21 reads, prepare slaughter for his children. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. Okay, Isaiah 14 and verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities. Okay, so you're going to pay, you other heathen nations are going to pay for what your forefathers done to the children of Israel. It's only fair. It's only fair. The circle of life. You're going to reap what you sow. Let's go back to Obadiah. Let's go back to Obadiah. Obadiah and read Salakia. Yeah, where I left off. Obadiah 1 and 15. For the day of Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. I covered it. Take people into captivity, you're going to go into captivity. Kill people with the sword, you're going to be killed with the sword. Every one of your adversaries going to go into captivity or killed by the sword. Those are only two choices. For the day of Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. It's only fair. It is only fair. Bring out a few more precepts. Drop down Obadiah 1 and verse 17, and it reads, but upon my Zion, on Zion that represents Israel, shall be deliverance, and they shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Okay, Obadiah 1 and verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. The house of Jacob shall possess their possession, meaning everything here, this whole economy, all the everything that belongs here on the so-called earth is coming back to Israel. Point blank period. Point blank period. Obadiah 1 and 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. So Jacob is going to light the fire. Joseph is going to be the flame, and we're coming to burn every single one of you. Thus saith the Lord. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and they shall not be any remaining. Read it again. And they shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For Yahawah has spoken it. Salakia. I will read it again. That's a beautiful precept. This goes hand in hand, which I read in Ezekiel 37 about the northern and southern kingdom coming together. This is a precept. The house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph, Jacob being the southern kingdom and Joseph the northern kingdom, a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And they shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahawah hath spoken it. I'm just reading the Bible. Bring out a couple more precepts through the Spirit. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. And I'm going to read 14 and verse Salakia. Isaiah 14, and I'm going to read from verse 1 just to recap everything that I just mentioned. This is Isaiah 14 and verse 1, and it reads, "For Yahawah will have mercy on Jacob, the children of Israel, and yet will choose Israel." He chose Israel from the beginning. Malachi 3 and 6 lets us know Yahawah's never changed. He's always been the same. Point blank period. For the Yahawah will have mercy on Jacob, and yet will choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Verse 2, Isaiah 14 and verse 2, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place." Again, we're taking this kingdom, we're taking it captive, and we're taking it to our place. "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them." I possess this book. I'm taking ownership of this book. The Apocrypha for you unlearned. Say it's not part of the Bible. Isaiah 14 and 2, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahawah for servants and handmaid, bondmen and bondwomen." Okay, "He that take a leader into captivity shall go into captivity." Precept. "The house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahawah for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were." We were your captives and slaves. Well, y'all coming to us now. It's only fair. Salakia. "The house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahawah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captive, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." You're oppressing us here to this day. Your day is coming. We're going to oppress you. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. I'm just reading the Bible, giving you precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Isaiah 14 and 3, "And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahawah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from that hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve." We're going to be at peace in the kingdom, and you're going into the cotton fields. "He that leadeth into captivity shall go in captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be," not maybe, must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's what we're patiently waiting for here. Waiting for the Messiah to crack that sky. And again, take two. Action is our time. Yasha'Allah, I hope this is edifying. I didn't want to make this lesson too, but I just had to bring it out through the Spirit. I'm going to go into the Apocrypha. I'm going to get one more precept. Let's go into the Apocrypha. This last precept, 2nd Esdras 6 and verse 9. 2nd Esdras 6 and verse 9 out of the Apocrypha. And it reads, "For Esau is the end of the world. For Esau is the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Read it again. 2nd Esdras 6 and verse 9. "For Esau is the end of the world." Who's ruling on this planet right now? The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Job 9:24. Ezekiel 7:21. It's given to the strangers for prey, and they shall pollute it. The worst of the heathen. 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth." It's only time. It's about time that righteousness overcomes this earth. It's about time. Let me see if I can get one more precept through the Spirit of the Most High. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. The book of Proverbs 29 and verse 2. And it reads, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. It's a beautiful precept to end this holy Sabbath lesson. Rumour from Yahawah, rise up to the battle. Proverbs 29 and 2 again. When the righteous in authority, the people rejoice. That's what we're waiting for, righteousness throughout the four corners of this earth. But when the wicked bear rule, which right now earth is given to the hands of the wicked. That's why this place is getting destroyed and judged by the Most High God, Yahawah, Ba'ashem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Yasha'Allah. I hope this is edifying. Rumour from Yahawah, rise up to the battle. That's why death and destruction is coming out here for all you've done to the Most High's people, blacks, Hispanics, native, Seminole, and of Indian and Negro descent. Endure to the end, Yasha'Allah. With that I say, Shabbat Shalom.